JJ Kinahan, your new book is called Essential Option Strategies. There's a lot of books about investing out there. Why are you adding to the canon?
Well, first of all, Greg, thanks for having me today. The reason I wanted to write the book is because in the role I have at TD Ameritrade, I'm fortunate enough to meet a lot of our retail clients, many of whom are just starting out. And so, as you'll notice in the book, it's not just right into iron condors or something like that. It really actually starts people who are getting started in investing overall and leads them down the path to options, because in all the meetings I've had, all the people I've met, a lot of them get intimidated by the math, and hopefully this will help them get started.
Well, the first part of the book really is about getting started in investing. And the big debate nowadays is whether stock picking is dead. So let's talk about that, and then we'll get to the options.
Certainly. And you know, one of the things I think that we tend to do overall is say, you're all this or you're all that. There is a place probably for passive investing in people's portfolio. But I think there's also a place in people's portfolio for understanding how to add to return, trying to maybe beat the market a little bit just with very simple strategies such as covered calls or cash covered puts, where they give themselves a chance to add to their returns. And so in a environment that we're in right now, where you have 10-year yields under 1.8%, it's very important for people to get this extra yield. You know, young people for the rest of their lives, hopefully, and older people as they head towards retirement.
And in part two, you talk about getting started in options. So are covered calls perhaps the best way to get into it, because you're buying a stock, you're getting some protection, you're getting a little bit of money back? Is that the best way to get into it?
Well, I don't know if I would ever say the best, but I would say that that's probably the gateway that most people use, because they understand the concepts. You already own an equity. You already know how to sell it. What a covered call does is, if you sell an out of the money strike, it basically puts a level where you're comfortable selling the stock. If we don't get up to that level, you keep the premium. If we do, good for you, you've made some money because the stock went up. And I don't think most people's problem is they're selling out of the money calls and their stocks are going up too fast.
And that's a safe way to invest in stocks, but people are afraid of options or derivatives because they're afraid of the risks. And there are risks if you write naked options.
Absolutely.
So why don't you talk about that?
Well, absolutely, Greg, and thanks for bringing that up. I think one of the big points I try and make throughout the book is always understanding your risk. One of the things that separates people who have been doing this for a long time from new people is that the people who have been doing this for a long time, the first thing they say is, how much can I lose? The people just starting out, look at how much I can make, and they have no plan for if things go against them. Defining your risk is very important. There are risks to everything, and there are certainly risks to doing naked options. I'm a huge believer in education, as is our firm, because it's so important that people understand what they're doing. You know, I use this example. People say, well, they're bad because they have leverage. Nothing's inherently bad if you understand it. If you don't know what you're doing with fire, that doesn't go real well either. You have to understand the risks in anything you use.
All right, so once you've gotten down covered calls or selling puts and you want to step up to the condors and the butterfly spreads, how do you know when you're ready?
Well, I would say this. First of all, one of the things that I talk a lot about in there is starting small. And over time, an easy thing to do is to become a bigger trader. A hard thing to do is to start too big, lose some money, and then try and make that money back. So really, really start small. But the other thing is, have some success. Once you're comfortable, you're having some success, you know, time after time in a little bigger scale, then think about the next scale up in trading. And when you go to that, you don't start with big size again, you go back to small. And keep it, so again, you're doing small parts to your portfolio overall.
Well, it's a fantastic book,
Thank you,
clearly
Greg.
written. Traders are going to love it, both advanced and beginners. Thanks for coming on and talking about it.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Greg.
And thank you for watching The Street.